All right, hello my good friends. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. Welcome to the daily edition of Stock Market Mutterings, where I'll take a grope in the murkiness, try to make some sense out of the market, try to provide you with some quality trade setups. Before I get started, I wanted to show you something if you haven't already seen this. Look what I put in my office. I put one of my motorcycles in here. I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to have like a motorcycle in my living room. I know, what can you do? Always wanted to have this. So I had some space over here and I was thinking, what do I put? Do I put a couch? Do I put another TV? No, I got everything I need right there. I'm gonna put my bike in here. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's talk about some of this stuff today because we've got an interesting market here, don't we? So let me get you guys all set up and we'll go over this here little by little. It's like super bullish right now. I mean, we just went off and it was kind of like what we're looking at now is yesterday was like this fake out move, at least for the time being. You know, yesterday when I did the stock market mutterings, I was talking about if you were looking for the bullish case, I felt you needed to stay up in the 270 range, right? We were looking at this 270s, and this was one of the, I don't know actually how to phrase this, like this was one of the worst pullbacks ever in history, meaning that the market was never up that much in one day and then turns around and gives the whole thing back. I mean, that was nasty. So you're kind of thinking, well, where do we go? We had some Fed minutes today. Is that going to have an impact? But again, it does kind of what it does yesterday. You get a pinch early on into some selling into the nearest form of support, and they never really get to the overnight lows, and then it just takes off. So here's what I want to talk about today, because this is what we're seeing across the board in a lot of stocks. I highlight the market a lot because I do trade some futures and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, you're going to have stocks that resemble this type of a pattern. And what we're in here is what I call like the point and shoot market, meaning you're not getting any type of basing. So when this thing is coming down, it's making a V-shaped rally. So take a look at this. It just comes straight down and then goes straight back up. That's what it does. And it did that yesterday. You're just coming, you know, straight down, and then you're going straight back up over and over again. So it's just like up and down. Now, the solution to this a lot when we're going through volatility is those V-shaped rallies. And how do you trade the V-shaped rallies? And, you know, usually they V up and they V down, if that makes any sense. So if you're looking at something that does that, or you're seeing a continual pattern, the way that you get around that is start using longer time frames. So you may want to switch to something like a 1 hour chart. In a case like this, I'll let you take a look at something like that. I often will use the 1 hour for something like that. So like when you're seeing the 1 hour now, you're starting to see basing. You're getting a little different pictures. And this is to me why traders, we want to use multiple time frames, because when these prices that you're looking at line up on multiple time frames, it changes the way that they are and the value of the way that trade setup will work. Because not every trade setup is equal. If you're looking at a flag setup, for example, or a breakout setup, it matters as to whether or not it's breaking out on the daily chart, an intraday chart, or something like that. So sometimes if you're trading and it's really volatile and you're getting very messy, the best thing that you can do is try to stretch the time frame out. It'll help you block out a lot of that noise in between, and sometimes that's just enough to give you what the extra decision power that you need. So like when you're looking at it on a 5-minute chart, for example, this SPY right here, when you're looking at it, it looks really stretched, and it is really stretched here on the 5-minute. But then when you pull back to the 1 hour, you still got resistance up here at 274.80. So there's still a little bit more space in there. So you can see how much different that is just by changing your time frames. So just a little tip there. Do what you want to with it. Now, I don't know how this day is going to finish off. I mean, this is steep right here. You got a little bit more room that you can work with in some of these names, but they're starting to stretch out a little bit here as the day is progressing. I don't know if maybe one thing I was posting the video is that maybe this would end up being a short, because if we got rejected off of the highs, the theories and thoughts behind all of this would possibly be that, you know, we saw the market selling off yesterday, and if you started pressing a little bit lower, then maybe people would start to panic a little and go, we just don't want to hold positions overnight. Anyway, really strong here. We're going to take a look at some individual names. Anything can happen for the next hour or so before the market closes. But I want to look at some stuff that might play out tomorrow rather than today. And first is this Starbucks here. Like we're finding sexy trades and names like Starbucks now. You got a pretty good, I would call this a triple top stretching from, what day was this? The 13th. Look at this. You're going to run this right through here. It's holding up well through this. So I think if you get a nice push that moves up towards yesterday's high, which is like 70, it was 71.58s in the 72s. Let's say 71.50, 72. Market continues to have this kind of pace and rhythm. This has got some breakout room, probably back to 80. So Starbucks, probably not the most sexiest chart you see, but there is some cash and there's some value on this, and the chart setup itself is pretty good. Now I'll send you to somebody else here, which will give you, if you want some partying, OKTA has some range to it. It will give you a party. This thing is lining up really well. And the thing about this I talked to you yesterday was like the relative strength thing, where you're looking at stocks that are performing well when the market is going lower. Stocks that are continuing to stay in tight consolidations or trade within tight ranges while the market's getting cooked. Those are the stocks that, when the market turns around, those are the stocks that you're going to see big moves out of. And I think you have a case here where OKTA has been kind of holding up really well. Now, not so exciting today, but it does look like a, let's say, call it a schizophrenic Starbucks. You got a pretty good chart. It's holding slightly over the resistance. You got some next resistance, which is 130.174. Couldn't get through that yesterday. Hasn't gotten up there today. But I think watch that as we go forward. The market's going to continue to shake this out, and you get some people chasing, whether this is a short-term rally or whatever it might be. You quite possibly can see this thing move towards the 140s and to the 142s, which was the yearly high. So this one hasn't pulled very far off of its yearly highs. And I guess the last I've talked about AMD right here. This AMD, also another one, just sitting here waiting for its turn. So maybe the stuff that's hot today won't be hot tomorrow. Maybe this money will cycle over towards AMD. You got a great chart set up there with AMD. You got a great chart set up with Starbucks, and you have one with AMD. Now, there's thousands of other charts that look like that, especially as the market itself has consolidated. And, there's a possibility that maybe it gets above the highs there from yesterday. So we can take a look at that, But right now, as it stands, it's just been ultra bullish here today. And it doesn't appear as if we're going to get that fade. So maybe that next leg moving up. So anyway, guys, I'll keep it short here. Market mutterings just quickly. We'll see how the move gets digested towards the end of the day. And then we'll take a look at possibly these trades tomorrow. I don't think they're going to line up today, but put them on your list for tomorrow, which is Starbucks, OKTA, AMD, all longs. Of course, this is stock market. Anything could change. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Show your support by following this channel and clicking that you like it. Take care.